What is good, bro? Chanchos. Welcome to today's trade recap. Today is August 21st. My mother's birthday is tomorrow. Let's wish Mama Lo a happy birthday for tomorrow. Full Port Friday tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's a great day. Took two trades today. One was a dub. The other was a break even slash dub. It was a dub for me, but break even if you were in the Discord. Just because that was all I needed in order to pass the email. So that's why I took it. It was my destiny. But overall, two dubs on the day, I guess we can say. One was pre-market on ES. I actually haven't traded the S&P 500 in fucking forever, but it actually looked beautiful this morning. We'll go over that, and then we'll go over the trade on NASDAQ as well. So, heading into this morning, we had news at 8:30. So where's 8:30 out? Let's go ahead and mark 8:30 out. Right, we had unemployment claims at 8:30 and then PMI at 9:45. So, the only time I typically trade pre-market is if we have 8:30 news, and we did today. And I actually caught a trade today pre-market, so it ended up working out. So let's go over that real quick. Select bar right here. Okay, so we were in a clear downtrend, right? This is NASDAQ. This is what ass crack looks like. And then this is ES, right? So on ES, our targets were, what is this? My targets were these two lows. So this low was formed. This was a 15-minute low. This was our data news candle. So we had equal lows with our data news candle. And then along with that, we also had, I believe it was this hourly low below us as well. So we had these three lows. And I think there might have been one more. Oh, it's this one as well. Yeah. So we had these hourly lows, these 15-minute lows. That is irrelevant. Yeah, so 15-minute lows, hourly lows, and these equal lows with the data candle, right? So clear draws on liquidity. So why did I enter the trade? Well, we ended up trending down. We created a 15-minute fair value gap. So that ended up being my condition. So if we traded to that without sweeping out these lows first, I was going to look for a continuation model down towards this general area. If we took out these lows before filling this gap, then I could have looked for our gap model up to it. So what did we end up doing? Well, we ended up trending up towards it. 10 a.m. or not 10 a.m. 8:30 comes. 8:30 news candle creates equal lows with this. Here's what it looked like on NASDAQ. ES just looked beautiful. All right, so NASDAQ, we still had LRL, and I believe there was shit to the left of us. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't think there was. But same idea, right? We had relatively equal lows on NASDAQ. We had equal lows on ES. ES just looked more pretty due to the fact that it wasn't just bullshit chop like ES normally is. It was actually moving pretty decent. So what did we end up doing? We ended up tracing into this 15-minute fair value gap, and then literally just a continuation model out of it. It's that simple. We got a continuation model. We have equal lows here at our take profit area. So how do we enter? Well, 15-minute tap. We get this 1-minute inversion, which was, I don't know if this was a 2-minute right here. But if it was the same candle closure. So on here, I just went ahead and entered off the candle closure. But on my XFAs on Tops Up, I set a limit order at this inversion right here. Really doesn't matter. Stops at the swing highs, right? Take profits all the way down here to 1, 2, and 3. I don't think 3 ended up getting taken out, but I know these equal lows did. And here is the trade. I ended up closing right here. So this is actually the real idea of what my trade looked like. My trade was actually looked like this. 0.95 RR wasn't the best, but we created a bullish SMT with these data lows. So as you guys can see, NASDAQ came down and swept them out first. So last time that happened to me, I actually ended up getting reversed on and ended up getting a break even. So I was perfectly fine with the profits I made. I was up around $600 across like 18 accounts. Actually, I didn't trade my take profit traders today because they're still in their eval phase because of the bullshit 5-day rule. So it was only 13. So $600 across 13 accounts. It was beautiful. And I don't know if we ended up, and we did end up coming down and taking out this last target as well right here. So all three of these targets got hit. Pretty A+ setup, just a normal continuation model down to equal lows, data lows, and relatively equal lows, along with these three. Pretty A+ setup, exactly what we look for in a continuation model. And then moving on over to the trade I took later on. Here, let's get rid of all this shit. Let's go on the 5-minute. So that was pre-market. And I was still looking to trade market open due to the fact that fuck was I about to say? Oh, one of my accounts on My Fun and Future, or actually 2 out of the 3 accounts on My Fun and Futures did not copy trade. So really, it was only 11 accounts that won that trade. So I was still looking to get into trade on those, and I ended up doing so. So price ended up chopping around, right? We had news at 9:45, so 9:45 comes right about here. So we get a fat fucking crazy wick. We get data lows right here, right? We had this little accumulation zone. We came down out of it. What did we sweep into? Well, nothing really. There's nothing on the hourly. Did we touch anything on the 15-minute? Yep, we came down and swept these 15-minute lows right here inside of this 15-minute for value gap. So we had conviction to go higher, but not enough to enter, right? Because if we come down, scale down, oh shit. Here's what NASDAQ looked like. Same shit. NASDAQ didn't take out these lows. If we took out these lows first, I would have loved to take a long somewhere in that general area of price. But we had these 15-minute lows along with this unfilled 15-minute gap. So, and I was overall bearish on the day. So if I wanted to take a long, I would at least want to see this 15-minute gap get filled first and then continue higher. So that's the reason I didn't take a long here. However, we ended up displacing higher and higher. Oh, Jesus Christ. I just went hella far. Dude, what is going on? We ended up displacing higher and higher. Give me 1 second. And when we did, we actually came into this 15-minute for value gap, right? There is a plethora of them over here, but here's the most discounted one. So we came into this 15-minute for value gap, and what do we have below us? Well, we had an unfilled 5-minute. And there is a reason I didn't take a mech model during this trade, because overall, I was pretty bullish towards these relative equal highs over here. So instead of trying to force a mech model or gap model, whatever you want to call it, and try to, I guess, short against this new trend. Why? Because we had a 5-minute break structure, we had a 5-minute CISD, and we also had this bearish SMT down here. So this is what price looked like. We had 945 lows, which were data lows, get swept out, and the data lows did not get swept out on ES. So we had a bullish SMT, so I wasn't trying to short against any of that. If anything, I would want to wait for that condition to open up, get tapped into, and then we could take longs towards there. However, we just ended up trending higher and higher. And then we finally did get a retracement. We got a retracement down into this 5-minute gap along with the retracement down into this 15-minute gap. So now I was looking for, okay, since we got a retracement into that and we also tapped equilibrium almost perfectly, now all I'm waiting for is an inversion of the highest time frame leg on the 1 through 5 minute to get inverted, and then we can go and target everything we need to up here, right? We have these highs, we have the London session highs, and then Asian session highs as well. Okay, so on the way back down, when we retrace, what do? We came right into equilibrium. So it's giving us bullish structure now, right? We tap equilibrium perfectly. We come into a 15-minute for value gap bullish. We come into a 5-minute bullish for value gap. So we're tapping into conditions. All I need to see is an inversion. So what do we get? Well, we get a 5-minute that opens up. We're looking for an inversion. Doesn't happen with this candle. And what is our, oh fuck. What does our next 5-minute candle do? Our 5-minute candle then inverts it. So I actually set a limit order at the inversion on this trade just because, let me unlock this real quick. Just because my break-even point was this unfilled 3-minute gap right here, right? Because we can also treat 3-minute for value gaps like 5-minute. But if we're in a continuation model, obviously we want to see a 5 or 15-minute get tapped into as a condition. But 3 minutes for break-even points work the same as a 5-minute gap would. So we had an unfilled 3-minute above us. I didn't enter off this inversion alone because my RR would have been shit, not only towards these highs up here, but my break-even point would have been a 0.21, right? So, and I tried to aim for like a 0.5 minimum with my break-even point. So I did set a limit order at this inversion right here. However, I guess I set it a little bit too low because this candle did not tap me in. Next candle is fluctuating, and then this candle did not tap me in as well. So I ended up entering somewhere around, I want to say like this area right here. And my break-even point was still this unfilled gap. So with targets above, right? We have this high, which you could have took partials at, and then the rest of your take profits you could have took at previous session highs. So what do we end up doing? Well, we end up coming into my break-even point, and then as soon as we tap my break-even point, we then reverse. And then if I would have held, I would have got stopped out, right? So W break even on this trade. Classic continuation model. We just had a 15-minute fair value gap open up along with the 5-minute. We got to tap into that, tap into equilibrium, clear targets above us. Yeah, it just didn't work out in our favor this time. It is what it is. So 1-1 on the day. Both trade, actually the pre-market trade was not took live in the Discord, but this trade was took live in the Discord with everyone. But yeah, that was the only 2 trades I was really looking at today that really caught my eye. I didn't like this short right here. So there was this 1-minute short right here to all these, like, hold on. Let's mark this up. So there was this 1-minute short right here. We came up and tapped a 15-minute gap. We got a 1-minute inversion. If you guys didn't like this candle closure, well, what do we know about inversions, right? Stops at the highs, come down here to these equal lows that were relatively equal right here. But I didn't like this trade. Why? Because look at the time we would have entered. Well, we had red folder news at 9:45, so I didn't want to really essentially gamble news, but it was a good setup if news wasn't there, right? We came up, tapped this 15-minute, tapped this 15-minute as well. We're still respecting this 15-minute. Along with that, I'm sure we had a 5-minute tap somewhere in here as well. Yeah, there was this 5-minute for value gap, and then we got a 1-minute inversion to the downside. If you guys didn't like this entry, you guys could have set a limit order at the inversion, and what do you know? You would have got tapped in perfectly for a 1 to 4 RR. First take profit being at this low right here, and the second take profit being at these 15-minute lows that happened a couple days ago. Again, I didn't like that trade because it happened right before news, but it was an A+ setup. Once again, I didn't take it because of news. So that was one other trade that would have happened today, but I wasn't looking at that due to the fact that I was just waiting for news to come out. So with that being said, that'll be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you like. I will catch y'all boys back tomorrow for a Full Port Friday.